got my hoo-hoos here. I'm going to do some color testing, but I also have Artex skin tone color set. Got my swatch sheet here. I think what I want to do actually is start with this one called Cotton Pearl. I don't know how well you can see the colors here, but it's this kind of more of a, it's a very desaturated pink. That's basically what it is, a very desaturated pink. I also have silk, which is similar, but I think that's darker. Okay, but that's what we're here to test. The white of the paper is making the camera be so reflective. Well, yeah. Well, we'll have to try some different things. This is a learning process. You know, this might be it might dry. No, I think this will work. The light is coming from this side in the reference. In my predetermined model for the finished piece, it is the light's going to be coming from the right. But since this is most of the side of his face that we can see, it'd be good to practice the shadows. Erase these shadows so that I can really practice that. Maybe I should erase his hair too, at least some of his hair, so I can practice that color. But you know, I might be able to incorporate this, since at least, especially with hair, it would cover up, you know, it's darker, it will cover up, like if I don't like how something looks, it can easily be covered up, whereas with the face you can't do that. And so it could incorporate into his hair color. I think I will just kind of go over everything. I'll just start by going over everything. Maybe leave some space for highlights here. But I can use, let's see, can you see that at all? Kinda. Okay. So I'm using an Artex marker here. This is the 317 Cotton Pearl from their skin set. Also, when coloring, you can actually help define some shape to the face, because our faces aren't flat. We are not two-dimensional. And even though what we're drawing is two-dimensional, we want to try to emulate 3D. So one of the ways that you can do that is by, with your brush strokes and your marker strokes, kind of go in the direction of what the planes of the face do. So like on the side of the head here, it's going to be more curved. It's going to be more curve on the forehead here, curve this way. So that'll, you know, especially if there are any streaks or anything like that. A paper that is smoother and is supposed to be not, it's like this paper doesn't absorb the ink as fast or as much. So it's going, so the ink is going to stay on the surface for longer. And so you can get some streaks going on there. Okay, so kind kind of blocked out here. Like there's some shadow here. It's got some light coming here. I'm surprised there isn't more light on this cheekbone. I mean, there's some around his eye here, but... And yeah, okay, it does get darker over here. Okay. I don't want to lay too heavily on this pink though. I want to add more yellowishes, more grays. I want to use some blues for the shadows. I think that would look good. In terms of color scheme, you know, frequently you want to use like complementary colors to contrast some things. Like if you're using mainly yellows, you want to contrast with purples, which is the complementary of yellow. You know, putting blue and red together, you know, make purple. So that's yellow's complementary. Putting red and yellow together make orange. That's blue's complementary. And then yellow and blue make green. That's red's complementary. So complementary meaning that they contrast, but that contrast actually complements each other. It makes them both stand out. So I'm wanting to use, like, you know, more of a yellowish skin tone here. Maybe this raw silk one. So you would think if I'm gonna do that for like the shadows, I would want to like be using purples, but I don't. I want to use blues. So that might be called an analogous color scheme. I'm not sure of all the technical stuff. I think I'm gonna use this one here called Baby Skin. It's kind of a more yellowish one. And I'm gonna stick to the shadows and see what that looks like first. I think I'm going to use the chisel end here for some of that. Part of the thing about, you know, drawing data is like, well, if he doesn't look like a realistic human, that's fine. But again, I want it to look like him. So that's why we're doing these tests here. You know, this might be, yeah, this yellowish might be the wrong way to go. Again, maybe I want to get more of that yellowish with a colored pencil after the fact. Data, you confound me. There's floral light here. You can barely even see that one in the swatch sheet. So maybe I want to use that. And again, this colored pencil, this Kohl Erase color pencil is influencing things here. Okay, but speaking of data and being confounding, or at least amusing. So in the Royale, one of the things I like best about the episode is that this is like the episode that, at least I think, introduces, so, you know, several of the Star Treks, you know, The Next Generation, Voyager, the original series, there is not much continuity from episode to episode. There's overall continuity, and one of those things that, you know, is an overall continuity thing for Data is, one, his love for Sherlock Holmes, and two, poker games. You know, I'm pretty sure it always takes place in his quarters. You know, the senior staff poker games that they do throughout the show. But I don't think they ever had their first poker game till after this episode. You know, in this episode, he gets interested in gambling. He plays blackjack, he plays the craps table. And yeah, I think that is something that, you know, his character took on and they moved on with that. And so I just really love seeing like the origin of something like that. Like it didn't just come out of nowhere. It was this experience that led him to that, because he has so much fun at the blackjack table, and you can tell he's having fun. I mean, I know technically he doesn't have emotions and stuff, but he has wonder, he has curiosity, and seeing him experience those things, whether or not it's a predetermined program, you know, just his little smiles and things like that. Like later on when he's playing at the craps table, it seems more like he's playing a program, you know, something that he took from some file in his computer core system. But when he's playing blackjack, it's that childlike curiosity, his natural smile. And I think that's Data. You know, that's the part of Data that is striving to be human, but striving unconsciously. Man, I need to find a blue shadow. Okay, so we don't have a lot of blues here in this pastel set. Do want it to kind of be more of a gray blue. So I'm thinking this BG, this blue gray 2, 3 thing. Okay, so especially around the eye. And it's gonna seem crazy dark at first. I might have gone too far into his eye there. This is one of the things about adding color. It's like, well, this could ruin the entire thing. But again, that's why we're testing. Yeah, this is really, really dark. Wonder if I have something else that can work. Although again, you want some harsh contrast with some things. So I think I should just follow this through. And see what happens. If I have to do another color test, I can. Yeah, it looks lighter on camera. So it looks, what I see on camera is more what I would actually want. But in real life, well, there is a blue-gray 3 here. That could work for the end-tone shadows. See, I don't know what everything's called. But where more light is hitting those. Okay, yeah, I'm liking that. So shading, you know, that's one of the things that I was really learning with learning how to draw, especially trying to capture likenesses. Like, so much of what I want to do is capture likenesses of real people. And so much of that is not in exactly how you draw what you see. It's in how you shade. Like, so much of someone's likeness comes from how light is hitting them and the different shadows and stuff. That, because that really defines the shape of like their jaw or their nose and things like that, and the bones under that. So when you start to shade something, that's where they really start to look like that person. Although I think I had it looking pretty much like Data before I started adding any color. Now it's starting to get kind of muddled, but you know, again, we're just trying to find things here. Blending some stuff together here. All right, so yeah, this less defined shadow. Some more here. It's really fun though. It's really fun to start to see something take shape. You know, this might actually work. You know, to kind of have that yellowish pinkiness to his skin and contrasting it with these blue grays. And we'll have to see what happens with what with the colored pencil and stuff. Try to get that hairline, that kind of swooshiness. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Yeah, I might, instead of like using brown for his hair, I might stick with blues. Like these blue grays. Part of another thing about finding someone's likeness, and you know, it takes time. It takes patience, and I am not the most patient person, and I can get frustrated pretty easily with my art if it's not, you know, if I'm not seeing them, if it's not turning out the way I want fast enough. At least for whatever my mindset is that day, because that changes. Some days I'm more patient, and some days I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. I'm good with spending several hours on this one thing. But sometimes it's like, ugh, I just want it to look how I want it to look, you know, right away. But if you really want something to look, especially if you're trying to capture a likeness, it's a game of patience. It will take some time. But when it starts to come together, boy howdy, it's fun. Okay, I think, yeah, that's really helping with his hair. So you also, yeah, one of the things, once you start adding color and stuff, and once like some of the pencil starts dissolving, or it looks much lighter because of all all the colors you're putting around, you start to lose some of that definition. It's, I could use this as the black for his uniform here too. It starts to lose that definition. And so that's why you really, you know, a lot of times you want to add line art, because that'll bring that refinement back and help features stand out again. And so again, I like to use colored pencil for that. So it's softer, but it just looks more natural, you know, instead of having a harsh black ink line. And again, partly that's because I have no refinement capabilities. Like I do not have steady hands. But with the colored pencil, it just seems easier, and I love it when something that's easier and can also get an effect that I really enjoy. So I really enjoy the look of the colored pencil liner. I just think overall it looks so much better. So that's that. Comes over this way. Just kind of block in where the black is of his uniform. Okay, all right. What do I want to use for the uniform? A pretty dark yellow, like a golden yellow. I don't actually know if I have that kind of option with the markers I have in here. I have another set of Ohuhu markers, a much larger set, like over 200 of them. They're not brush set though, and I really want to use brushes. Let's see what we have in this skin tone set here. I don't really like to use... The skin tone set that I have is pretty new, and I really don't want to use... I don't want to use them up for things that aren't skin. Let's see what this one looks like. This one's called Raw Silk. Let's use the chisel in for this one. Give the chisel some attention. So another thing that I just really... I kind of find funny about the Royale episode. There is this woman who's also playing blackjack, and she's losing all her money. And the actress, I don't remember her name right now. I'll put that on screen. But to me, she looks so much like Nana Visitor, who plays Kira in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and I think she sounds like her too. And so it's her and Nana Visitor and Dee Conan, Dee something from Shining Time Station, if anyone remembers that PBS TV show from the 90s. Shout out to people who were born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s. And then there was another person, I can't remember her name right now, who she was in a Star Trek Voyager episode with Tuvok called Gravity, and she also, similar look, similar sounding voice to all these other actresses. They all like have the same voice, and so I've gotten them mixed up. I was like, oh, that's the person from Shining Time Station. No, it's not. Oh, that's the person from Shining Time Station. No, it's not. Is that Nana Visitor? No, it's not. Then want to try dark suntan for these darker parts here. One thing that I really enjoy about the Arctic Skin Tone set is it comes in this case that it keeps the markers pretty much horizontal, easily accessible, and they all have their own compartment thing, so they don't all get mixed up in here. My Ohuhu set doesn't have any compartments. Well, the other one does, but this one doesn't. So it's like they're just all over the place. So it's much easier to keep track of things in the Artex Skin Tone set. So I really enjoyed that. So I want to add some definition to Data's uniform here. Some shadows. Okay, so adding in this darker color here. And with alcohol markers, you can go over the same marker several times and get a darker effect. Now, when it dries, so you do want, you want to wait for it to dry before going over it again. And then when the second layer does dry, it will dry a similar tone. So it is subtle, but you know, when doing shadows like that, you do want it more subtle for some areas. This over here. Okay, I'm liking these colors. I'm liking what I got going here. Now I just have to remember what I did. I should be writing this stuff down. I need to remind myself. You know, I talk about having the useful compartments here, but I need to remind myself to actually put them there. I thought that initial blue that I used was just so dark, and it is. But using that for the deepest shadows and then having kind of a more mid-tone shadow, like you get that contrast, you get that shape. It just works really well. So I think I'm gonna stick with that. And I also really like the way that looks with the hair. Man, this is taking a long time. Oh, right, I forgot to write any of these things down. So I'm having, okay, so I said I like to use colored pencil to do line art for my marker illustrations, and I do, but I want to use like a brown, especially around skin, and this is a problem I have with the Artex set too, the Artex colored pencil set, and maybe the one that has more pencils has better options, but the brown markers are really cool toned and kind of more grayish than, you know, I want a warm toned brown marker, and not marker, warm toned brown colored pencil. I also brought in a vermilion. Huh. Wonder if that actually, should I use the vermilion? Especially on the like the light side. Because again, this is like a reddish orange, and that would go together. If I use the dark brown, his chin here, kind of try to make his chin more squared off here. It's blending nicely with the blue. So actually maybe with this, since again it's Data and he's more metallic-y, maybe I want to have that more cool toned, kind of more grayish, grayish thing going on here. That might work really well, actually. So maybe I should try doing... Always worried about the eyes. And the eyebrows. Like, I love drawing eyebrows too. But I'm always worried about ruining them because that, again, eyebrows really kind of define things and can really distract if you do them wrong. And I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this. Maybe we should leave his eyebrows less dark. Okay, but we want to do the nose here, and maybe that side of the nose I want to do a lighter color, the vermilion, or maybe you just leave it undefined. Just leave the sketch. Sometimes if you define a nose too much, like really show the structure of a nose, it just looks weird with a drawing. Maybe I should put this here. Might be a little too defined for the light side. Right, Data has yellow eyes, doesn't he? Yeah, he has yellow eyes. See, I'm always worried about messing up the eyes. If you mess up the eyes, well, good luck next drawing. Maybe I should use the gold for his eyes, but let's see, let's start with this yellow. Where is my gold? What is this? Oh, this is that beige color that I want to try over his skin. Where is the gold? Oh, here it is. It looks more metallic, but it's not. Maybe I want to use the gold for his eyes. Let's try, since I already started to go around that one with the brown. Oh, see, this is the thing about eyes. Start to lose some of that. And losing that highlight. See, the highlights for me, some people just do completely black eyes and it works for them. But for me, I think the highlight is so important. You know, maybe we'll do that, and then put some shadow there. Yeah, that could work. And this here. It's pretty good. You know, there's all those videos that say, hey, draw along with me. What are you drawing today? Type things. But so many of these videos are so short. Like, I can't draw. Your video is sped up or edited, and mine's real life is not. I want to have longer videos. I want for people to have the opportunity to draw along with, and hopefully the things that I say to go along with that are interesting, fun, make you think of different things. I mean, so like one thing with the episode that I was watching, so the astronaut was saved by this alien race that felt responsible, I guess, and created this thing based off of this book. And it kind of reminds me just that idea that they think that, oh, this is what their society is like, you know, based off of this book. And so this must be what their life is like. So they like felt they were doing a favor. And it reminds me of, there's this episode of The Next Generation. Not The Next Generation, that's what we're watching. Of the original series. It's called The Squire of Gothos, I think. But part of that episode is like this omnipotent being, and hey, we know that Star Trek loves their omnipotent beings. But part of it is like he is based his, he's created an illusion of what he thinks Earth is based off of what he can see. So he can see to the planet, to planet Earth. He hasn't been there, but he can see it like from, I don't know if it's like a telescope or he like just has, telescopic vision or something. But just like in real life, like with our own telescopes, what we are seeing is thousands or millions of years old, because all we can see is the light coming from those places. So that's the same with like this guy, that he was seeing Earth, but he was seeing Earth hundreds of years into the past. So when he's interacting with the crew of the Enterprise, he's gotten everything like all outdated. He like doesn't understand humanity in its current form. And so that's kind of the same with the book. Is the Royale, that these aliens based it off of this book. Now, the book was not what humanity was like exactly. It was, a facsimile, an exaggeration, but still, it's still kind of based off of that idea. And so I think even the astronaut, that was an outdated life for him. Like, because, yeah, he left sometime after 2033, and I'm going to try this beige thing now to go over his skin, see if I can give it some of that lightness. Yeah, I think this is working pretty well. See, the thing about, again, going over marker with colored pencils is, so you got the coverage already, to go over the white of the paper with the marker. And then, so you don't have to like completely draw over everything to get any coverage. It's kind of like it's kind of like the markers themselves. It's kind of a transparent coverage. So you get just this great shift in the tone, but you still have that color from the marker below. I think it looks really good. That's one thing. When you do go over a marker with colored pencil, it's definitely going to be reflective in different light. So you'll really see where you made those marks. When you're doing some testing, put it somewhere where you don't completely care. Like, again, this whole entire drawing is a test. But, the more time you put into something, the better it starts to look. You start to get attached. Start to get attached. And then you start worrying about ruining it. Even though, especially with this one, the point is not to ruin, but to try. Pretty happy with it as is. Okay, thanks for watching.